Before we get to this reaction, I'm getting super close to YouTube partner. So if you guys can help out with the channel and subscribe, it'll really mean a lot. Right, let's get into this. Why don't people duel anymore?
Let's be reasonable. If a person insults you, then you have every right to fight to the death in order to restore your honor. As you'll have noticed, we don't duel anymore. But why not? When did dueling become illegal and why?
We don't duel anymore? Oh my god, I didn't realize, man. I really didn't realize.
To stop. Now, the height of dueling occurred around the late 18th and early 19th centuries, but dueling continued in some countries into the 20th. In Britain and Russia, formal codes of chivalry were drawn up and sold alongside sets of dueling pistols. And as late as 1894, the Russian Tsar Alexander III signed off on legislation formalizing how Russian officers were allowed to duel each other. However, you should know that in wider Russian society, the practice of dueling was dying off and largely seen as barbaric. Whereas in France, dueling was banned by Louis XIV, who saw them as needless spilling of blood. Yet the last duel there took place in 1967. Now, for the most...
Hold on, I have water in my mouth. 1967. Someone dueled. Bro, what the fuck?
Although there were
That's recent.
Duels worked like this. A person would say or do something
well, not recent, but recent.
And the insulted party would demand satisfaction. Satisfaction being either an apology or a duel. Now, not everyone could challenge everyone. A junior officer in the army couldn't challenge a general or a high-ranking member of the nobility, for example. Now, you didn't have to accept and put your life on the line, but it could lead to you being called a coward, and that wouldn't do. If you did accept, then as the one being challenged, you often had the right to choose the weapon used, most commonly swords or pistols. For example, in Germany or Italy, swords were commonly used, whereas in Britain, the US and Russia, pistols were much more common.
Bro, this is mad.
Anyway, after choosing your weapons, you would meet at a set time and date, and there would be a last chance to come to an agreement. You would bring your second with you, that is a close friend and representative, to hash things out with your opponent's second, and if nothing could be agreed on, then it was fight time. So why did dueling fall out of favour? Well, for a start, the fact that so many young officers were killing each other meant that it was affecting Britain and America's ability to wage war. George Washington, for example, had issues with stopping officers from killing each other during the War for Independence. Another reason was that there were concerns, especially in the church, that many people were using duels as a means to legally commit suicide. An accusation thrown at Alexander Hamilton and a fear that was especially prevalent in the United States. In Britain, there was a great deal of outrage in the 19th century as many wealthy aristocrats were able to kill in a duel and walk free. The reasons why duelists got off with literal premeditated murder was because the judges came from the upper classes and were very sympathetic to the idea of personal honor. In the US, dueling was banned fairly early on in many of the northern states, but these laws weren't enforced. When Aaron Burr killed Hamilton, he was
like, do you know what's mad about this, right? It's like dueling. I thought it was just like, oh yeah, just cowboys, right? Just cowboys being cowboys in the movies, in TV programs, right? I didn't actually think that this was a worldwide thing that everyone did up until 60, 70 years ago. Like, what?
Charged with murder, but none of these stuck because, I mean, it was a duel between two upstanding citizens and they both knew the risks. Whilst in the northern states the duel was fairly rare as of the early 19th century, it stayed popular in the south. Particularly in South Carolina, where new dueling etiquettes were written in the 1830s. And it was the Civil War that finally killed dueling in America. So many people dying really took the shine off of shooting your fellow Americans over things like honor. Now, dueling had always been subject to some mockery, but as of the Victorian era, people began to see it as horrendously outdated. As the conditions of modern warfare became widely known, the notion of the aristocracy somehow being able to maintain their honour by shooting someone in Wimbledon was seen as laughable. And in the end, across Britain and America, the duel slowly fell out of fashion. It wasn't legislated away as such, although dueling in the military...
Bro, I can't believe how like global it was.
...held from men killed in duels. Instead, dueling saw a slow death as upper and middle class culture changed to a more moderate means of settling scores. Lawsuits. I hope you enjoyed this episode and
so the lawsuits is the modern day dueling, man. Really good video. I'm pretty glad that dueling is no longer around. I'll probably be challenged all the time by my viewers in my stream, so that would not be good. But really good video. I enjoyed that one. Hopefully you guys did as well. If you did, make sure you do leave a thumbs up and I'll see you guys in the next video.